Alright guys, welcome back to the investigation of murder in London. Malam ni Haziq join kita, and dia pun dah sampai dekat tempat yang kita stop last time. I think that was 2 days ago. Yeah. So malam ni kita nak tengok siapa settle dulu. Kalau Haziq settle dulu, we don't have to get his password. Kalau kita dapat settle dulu kes ni, then he needs to, take on his promise to share his Netflix password, right? So Haziq standby, kita tengok siapa settle dulu malam ni. Kalau nak tiru solution pun boleh, tapi problem dia bila tiru solution ni kau takkan dapat mendahului orang yang kau tiru lah. Dia punya permainan dia begitu Okay Zik, ready? Oh belum. How many more minutes do you need? Okay, how about this? We just start without you, and then kau pandai lah gerakkan slider tu Yeah, I mean, the rest of us doesn't have all night to settle this case. But I think I'm quite positive we're gonna solve it tonight. If we need a part 4, then maybe we'll do it tomorrow night. Sorry lah, siang tak dapat Aziz. Yes. Malam besok aku kalau dapat. Boleh Alright guys, without further ado, let us begin part 3 of the London Carriage murder. February 12:52 PM, the Old Bailey Courtroom, Defendant's Antechamber. Okay, so untuk yang terlepas mengikuti perkembangan kes ni, basically kita mewakili seorang tertuduh. Tertuduh ni, the defendant's name is Mr. Magnus. Nama penuh dia Magnus McGilded. So dia dituduh atas pertuduhan membunuh seorang mangsa dalam sebuah carriage. Carriage ni macam apa bahasa Melayu dia? Kereta kuda lah, kereta kuda. Okay, dalam kereta kuda, tapi dekat London kereta kuda ni dianggap sebagai public transport. Lepas tu zaman ni, dalam timeline kes yang kita tengah selesaikan ni, check notes balik. Okay, dalam timeline kes yang kita tengah selesaikan ni, public transport berbentuk kereta kuda ni bukan sahaja dinaiki oleh 4 orang dalam kereta kuda tu, tapi dia ada tingkat atas sekali. Dia macam double decker omnibus dekat London tu lah. Cuma London punya bas tu panjang kan. So dalam kereta kuda ni dia ada 4 atas 4 bawah. Total yang boleh naik 8 orang, and pembunuhan tu berlaku di bahagian dalam, dan ada 2 saksi ke atas dan 1 saksi driver ke depan. Okay, so basically seorang tertuduh kat dalam, seorang mangsa yang telah mati kat dalam, 2 saksi ke atas kereta kuda, 1 driver kereta kuda tu. Okay, so in total secara teorinya 5 orang Tapi dalam kes yang sebelum ni, yang kita settlekan sebelum ni, dia ada masalah timbul sebab kita dapat hidu kewujudan orang ke-6. Maknanya dia macam pembunuh sebenar. And yang lebih memeranjatkan, the most prominent thing about this case is as well as the most suspicious, the most surprising thing about this case is the murderer, or the sixth person that we have investigated to exist, is actually a child. Dia just budak je. So sekarang kita nak investigate macam mana budak ni boleh terlibat dengan kes ni, and adakah betul dia pembunuh sebenar. Sebab memang dah tak ada orang lain lah. Kalau kita punya defendant tidak bersalah, memang budak ni lah yang bunuh mangsa kat dalam carriage tu kan, dekat dalam apa, dekat dalam kereta kuda tu. So we are going to continue. And untuk sesi malam ni rasanya aku buat dua bahasa kot. Sebab terpaksa Haziq dia faham sikit-sikit je apa ni, terma-terma yang terlibat dalam kes ni kan. So untuk memudahkan semua, kita buat dua bahasa lah. Pembacaan kes mungkin kita akan baca dalam English, and kalau ada penerangan kritikal yang betul-betul kau penting punya, kita akan buat dalam BM. Deal Right. So let's start. What on earth just happened in there? I've managed to find out what happened. Ni assistant kita nama dia Cik Susato. I was told it was an advanced form of smoke grenade. What? A type of exploding device that releases smoke. Oh, okay. Dalam kes terakhir part 2 sebelum ni, the entire courtroom was covered by a dense smoke. Macam ada satu lapisan asap yang sangat tebal menutupi bahagian dalam mahkamah tu. And semua defendant dan juga prosecution terpaksa keluar. Kita diarahkan keluar oleh judge. Ni kita nak investigate smoke tu, dan nak investigate kewujudan, the existence of that little child. Sounds like the sort of thing ninjas use. They're just making sure everything is safe now. I think the trial will start again before long. But who would have done something like that? Probably the real perpetrator of this case lah. The actual killer. The police managed to catch someone who was trying to flee the courtroom apparently. Flee the courtroom. Why? Ada orang nak lari. Well, it's a young girl of around... Okay lah, ni lah budak dia. Alright, so kita buat catatan sikit. Budak ni yang dikatakan ada dalam tempat kejadian tu tapi tidak diketahui oleh saksi-saksi, budak perempuan umur 15. Okay, let's keep that in mind. Then could it be the other passenger that Mr. McGilded was just talking about? I think it's her. It might be the real killer, that girl. My thoughts exactly. So he wasn't lying. Oh, what's become of Mr. McGilded actually? There are so many things I need to ask him about, but he's not here. I think he was summoned to the prosecutor's antechamber to answer questions. Okay, a little update. Prosecutor adalah pendakwa raya. Kita sekarang ni di bahagian defense maksudnya kita membela si tertuduh ni tadi. So bahagian pembelaan tak dapat nak buat soal siasat kepada saksi sekarang. Kita punya klien tu telah dipanggil ke bahagian prosecutor, bahagian pendakwa raya punya antechamber ruang khas untuk pendakwa raya dan tim dia saja boleh masuk dalam tu. So tak dapat lah kita nak cross exam kita punya klien. Klien kita ni pun bagi kes ambil lepas je. Dia tak bagi semua info yang dia perlu bagi. So I think we'll just continue with what we have so far dalam court record dalam rekod mahkamah kita ada buku hutang yang menyatakan ada 2 orang penting kes dalam ni berhutang dengan kita. Bukan dengan kita, dengan defendant. Kita mewakili pihak defendant kan. Ini adalah senjata pembunuhan, pisau yang dikatakan dimiliki oleh Magnus sebab ada huruf M kat situ. Cumanya kita tak pasti huruf M ni adakah betul dia M. Contoh balik sikit. Okay, kalau M seperti yang dikatakan dalam mahkamah kes sebelum ni, dia mewakili Magnus, dia milik klien kita. Mungkin betul, mungkin tak. Tapi kalau tak, mungkin dia bukan huruf M, mungkin dia huruf W. Kena cari pula siapa W. Kalau let's say budak perempuan yang baru ditemui tu nama dia ada W, mungkin dia lah. Ni adalah kita punya carriage. Dekat London dipanggil omnibus. Tingkat atas ada 4 seat, ada tingkap kat tengah. Tingkat bawah pun ada 4 seat, ada tingkap di sebelah kiri dan kanan. So kalau kita jenguk sikit dalam ni, kita tengok crime scene sikit apa yang berlaku dalam kes sebelum ni. Okay, so ini adalah tempat duduk victim. Nama dia adalah Mr. DM juga, Mr. Mason. So Mr. Mason duduk kat sini, kena tikam kat perut, darah meleleh, darah menitik. Dikatakan sebelah ni ada satu figura manusia duduk sebelah dia, tapi tidak dipastikan identiti lagi. Dan dalam kes sebelum ni, kita punya klien duduk kat sini maknanya setentang dengan mangsa. Lepas tu yang menjadi kemusykilannya adalah dekat mana budak tu menyorok. Ni tekaan kes sebelum ni lah budak tu diteka menyorok kat dalam ni. Sebab ada ruang yang kira mencukupi untuk budak tu menyorok. The space is enough for a child to actually hit themselves inside here. Okay, what else do we have? Ini adalah sarung tangan pembunuhan. Darah ada pada bahagian kanan saja. Okay, ini the glove. The blood only exists on top of the right glove. This is the victim, Mr. Mason, wearing a hat, a scarf, and as you can see, the murder weapon is lodged inside his abdomen with some blood splatter around his t-shirt. And also, if you can see here, there is one button missing. I think this missing button is gonna be crucial and important in this case because if it is found anywhere, contoh lah dia ditemui dekat budak perempuan tu ke, ataupun dalam pers salah seorang saksi-saksi yang terlibat dalam kes ni, so mungkin dia akan jadi tertuduh yang baru. Macam itu. And then we have the autopsy report. So kalau ada yang tertanya Scotland Yard atau apa, Scotland Yard ni macam FBI untuk pasukan polis London lah. Dia pasukan polis dia, kalau polis yang tinggi-tinggi yang macam PDRM yang pangkat tinggi-tinggi punya, kita panggil Scotland Yard. Dia mewakili pasukan polis. So mangsa berumur 54 tahun, Mr. Mason, lelaki, jantina lelaki, occupation brickmaker, pembuat batu-bata. Dibunuh pada 15 Februari antara jam 10 malam ke 11 malam. Ditikam sekali di bahagian abdomen ni. Abdomen ni bahagian yang ketak-ketak suspek tu, with a knife whilst journeying in an omnibus, semasa menaiki omnibus. Meninggal disebabkan internal hemorrhaging ni, kalau dalam bahasa medik dia pendarahan dalaman lah. Maksudnya mangsa ni mati disebabkan kehilangan darah, tapi darah yang keluar tu sedikit berbanding dengan darah yang keluar dari bahagian dalam badan dia. Internal hemorrhage resulting from the trauma, akibat daripada kesan tikaman tersebut. Okay, I think we are ready. So if you guys ready, let's go into the courtroom. along with the young girl. So the young girl and also our client is with the prosecution team. Who is she, I wonder? And what was she even doing here at the trial? She was taking a huge risk, and for what possible benefit to herself? There's another matter that's troubling me. What's that? The 20 pence. According to the coachman, Mr. Beppo ni driver Carriage tadi tu he took 4 passengers that night at a fare of 5 pence each. Kan kita dah settle kan ke isu ni? Mr. Beppo kata dia ambil 4 orang penumpang dengan harga RM5 seorang. Ikut currency kat sana lah kat London. 5 pence ni rasanya macam tak tahu RM5 ke 5 sen ke. But for argument's sake, let's just remember the digit. 4 orang dengan harga RM5, total 20 kan. Sebab RM20 tu ditemui dekat apa ni, sebagai bayaran untuk naik omnibus malam tu. So dia kata 4 orang bayar RM5 seorang, dapat jumlah 20. Tapi rupa-rupanya dalam siasatan kita dalam courtroom part 2 hari tu, kita dapati dia bukannya RM5 seorang. Harga dia harga ceiling, harga tetap, tak pernah naik daripada dulu, RM4 seorang. So kalau jumlah duit yang ada pada driver 20, bermaksud 5 orang naik. Tu yang kita syak ada kewujudan penumpang ke-5 lah dalam carriage ni. That comes to a total of 20 pence exactly. But now it seems there were in fact 5 passengers, which means the figures don't seem to add up again. Okay, bailiff dah panggil kita masuk courtroom, so let's get ready. And probably rasanya bahagian ketiga ni prosecution akan ada, pihak pendakwaan akan ada some sort of hidden strategy or hidden weapon lah, yang dia dah tahu tapi maklumat tu belum sampai kat kita lagi rasanya. And kalau itu berlaku, makin susah kita nak menang, sebab kemenangan dalam courtroom ni dia based on evidence and maklumat. Makin banyak maklumat kita ada, makin banyak evidence yang kita dapat, makin banyak benda yang kita tahu, makin mudah kita nak menangkan kes. Sebab tugas prosecution ni dia tidaklah sesukar defense kalau dah ada kes yang clear cut macam ni. Kes clear cut macam ni sebab awal-awalnya mangsa duduk dengan kita punya klien. So disebabkan 2 orang je dalam tu, maka klien yang ada tu lah yang bunuh. Tapi bila ada orang ketiga macam ni, ada perkembangan terbaru dalam kes, kita perlukan kuasa evidence dan juga maklumat. So pihak mana yang dapat dulu dan pihak mana yang dapat gunakan dengan baik benda tu dalam courtroom, dia akan menang lah. The trial will recommence in 5 minutes. Okay, I think we're ready. Well, whoever she is, I imagine this young girl will be asked to take the stand and testify. Hopefully, because other than our client, this is the only person that could provide us with new insights and new information about the night of the murder. I really can't imagine what she's going to say, but it could alter the whole direction of the trial. Absolutely. We'll know soon enough, Miss Susato. Yes. Prosiding mahkamah dah masuk ke belah tengah hari menjelang petang pukul 1, tarikh 18 Februari. Okay. Ni budak perempuan baru ni. There's a young girl next to Mr. McGilded. Rasanya dua-dua ni baru selesai dekat prosecution antechamber, bilik khas pihak pendakwaan. She must have been the one who caused the disturbance before. Oh, yang keluarkan asap dalam part tu. Okay, rasanya dia ni. Well, after that rather eventful recess, the court will now resume the trial of Mr. Magnus McGilded. Now then, Lord Van Zix. My lord, I believe you have established the cause of the smoke which veiled proceedings earlier. It seems to have been an advanced form of smoke grenade, of the sort typically employed by the army. Oi, military grade oi. Tiba lah ada kat tangan budak perempuan tu. Advanced form of smoke grenade, of the sort typically employed by the army. How could the little kid have gotten her hands on the grenade? I wonder. Good gracious, the army? What's in the devil's name? It was an elaborate attempt by a young girl to cloak her escape from the public gallery, but she was caught. Public gallery? Okay, ni ada I think there's a confusion here, because I'm not sure whether public gallery is somewhere inside the courtroom or probably near the courtroom, but I think it's outside. But if it's outside, how come the smoke and the sound of the explosion can be heard inside the courtroom, right? Anyway, she was caught, okay, and now occupies the stand. Your name, girl? Are you responsible for the smoke grenade which induced such pandemonium here in my courtroom? What is the meaning of this deplorable behavior? If I may, my lord. Yes, Mr. McGilded. I think perhaps I ought to explain here why it is that this wee lass was here in the first place and why she tried to bolt like that. It is all tied up with the events of that night. So it is. Very well, Mr. McGilded. Give your testimony. You will explain to the court exactly how this young woman is involved in the case. Just what did happen that night? Yeah, I wonder the same thing. It's not like a defense lawyer needs that information or anything. Okay, finally, our client is gonna testify. I hope he won't incriminate himself, because if you guys remember correctly, there are, information that would have saved his ass, but he just didn't inform the defense table, so no one from the defense know about the existence of that girl until it was proven. So I really hope that he wouldn't accidentally incriminate himself, or I guess we'll just end the case with a guilty verdict. On the night in question, I took the back seat in the omnibus and promptly nodded off. promptly nodded off. Dia tidur, okay. Then Begora, a loud thud and wee scream woke me up with a fair start. A loud thud. Loud thud ni macam bunyi objek jatuh lah. It's the sound of an object dropping on the floor. But why would it be a thud? What's falling on the floor? Because we have established that the victim died in a sitting position, not on the floor. A wee scream woke me up with a fair start. Who screamed? There was a fella collapsed on the floor. No, nobody fell. So I set him up on the. Oh, okay. So, okay. The fella actually fell, and then this guy touched him and put him back on his seat. Across. Okay, so at least the positioning was correct. He did sit across from the victim, not beside. Then I turned to find out where that scream had come from. And bless my soul, what did I find? Then I turned to find out where that scream had come from. And bless my soul, what did I find? Where was that scream coming from? There was a child in there, all curled up in a ball, hiding her wee self away. There was a child in there, all curled up in a ball. If she was indeed the killer, why would she be curling her body up? Hiding. Oh, I think this is where the secret compartment inside the omnibus. Okay. I remain somewhat baffled, I confess, but from what I gather on the night in question, this young girl was indeed riding the omnibus. Is that correct? It is exactly as the defense counsel said. This last was the 5th passenger, my lord. Very well. The defense may now cross-examine the witness. Are you ready, counsel? Ready as ever. Yes, my lord. Or rather, no. I have no idea where to start. Van Zieks. Menacing as ever. Menacing as ever. Cross-examination about the young girl. Okay, so our strategy for this one is we are going to press on every statement in order for us to gain new information and probably new insights into the case. On the night in question, I took the back seat in the omnibus and promptly nodded off. Press. Hold it! And when you first got onto the omnibus, were there any other passengers already on board? No, they were not. Okay, since he has claimed there were not, meaning he's the first passenger. The cabin was empty, maknanya bahagian dalam dia kosong. There was no one on the roof deck either. No one on the top, no one inside. Okay, let's keep that in mind. This is actually quite important to the case. You were the first passenger, as it were, I see. And that's why I took the back side as I did. It is the most comfortable, so it is. Could you explain exactly what you mean by the back seat? By all means, it is how you already described it earlier. I'm talking about the seat opposite the one in which the poor gentleman who was stabbed was sitting. Okay, so far no contradictions, everything seems to be in order. Like I said, it is the most comfortable and where I feel most at ease. And of course, I enjoy gazing through the skylight from time to time as well. Then, Bigora, a loud thud and a wee scream woke me up. So there are two elements to the occurrence of when he woke up. The first is a loud thud, the sound of an object or a person falling onto the floor, and also a wee scream. And as we have learned from the earlier statement, the wee scream came from that little girl. Woke me up with a fair start. Let's press. Hold it! Loud thud, you say, and a scream. Aye, that's right. How can I explain it? It was like the sound of someone falling to the ground, that sort of noise. So you think it was the sound of Mr. Mason falling to the floor, having been stabbed? Well, now, you'll remember I was asleep at the time, so I wouldn't like to say. Okay. And when the sound woke me and I opened my eyes, there wasn't a soul to be seen in the carriage but the fellow on the floor. There wasn't a soul to be seen in the carriage but the fellow on the floor. Okay. So the moment he woke up and opened his eyes, the little girl was actually nowhere to be seen yet, because he only saw the victim falling onto the floor. You didn't see anyone, but at the same moment you did hear a scream. From the seats above you on the roof deck, I presume? Not above me, no my lord. It was from inside the cabin. But I wasn't altogether thinking about the scream. No, I was too stunned by the desperate sight before my eyes. There was a fella collapsed on the floor at my feet, so I set him up on the seat across from me. Let's press. Hold it! You set him up? The victim, you mean? That I did. On the seat across from me, as I said, I could plainly see the poor devil was already gone. Okay. And you wouldn't leave a dead man just lying on the floor now, would you? Oh my god, this guy's theatrics. It is common courtesy, so it is. I find that a little hard to believe. Lord Van Zix. Now why would that be? You wake to find a man lying dead at your feet in a carriage. Any normal person would hail the cabman. Yeah, we would, wouldn't we? First thing to do is inform the driver. Any upstanding member of London society, that is. Well, now, as you know, I'm in something of a special line of business. The business of lending money at exorbitant rates of interest. Unfortunately, my lord, not everyone is thankful for the help I offer them, and some would even see me dead. Okay, so I do try, where at all possible, to avoid getting myself in a tangle with trouble. Okay. Are you suggesting you were just gonna leave the man there? Heavens alive, no. I was always intending to report it, so I was. Only I had a mind to find out the whys and wherefores first. The whys and wherefores? Right, you are. There were some details I wanted to understand before anyone else got to meddling. That wee scream I heard, for example. Wouldn't your good self do just the same? The scream he says he heard at the same time as the thud of the victim collapsing. Wait, hold on. Now that you mention it, okay, we're talking about sounds right here. So one theory is the thud sound that he heard was indeed the victim falling onto the floor, but another thud sound that could be happening inside the carriage is actually the closing of the secret compartment or the seat on which Mr. McGilded sat on, you know. Although it sounds like a bit impossible to be happening, because how can someone be sitting on the cover at the same time another person entering and opening the cover to get inside the secret compartment? That's a bit far-fetched, I admit, but it's a possibility. And if that possibility proved to be actually happening in the night of murder, so the third sound could be the cover of the seat closing. However far-fetched that may be, it could be. Then I turned to find out where that scream had come from, and bless my soul, what did I find? Press. Hold it! I'm afraid I didn't understand. You told the court that there was no one else in the carriage except yourself and the victim. Okay. So what we are trying to find out is when was the exact moment in which Mr. McGilded saw or found the little girl. So I did, sir. So I did. As far as I could see, that is. What do you mean? It is a queer thing. The wee scream I heard as I woke up, it came from, is, you'll excuse the vulgar expression, under my backside. Under, right? So he's using the preposition under, meaning the scream was coming from the secret compartment underneath his seat. I hope all of us are clear on that. If we take a look at another round, I know we've been seeing this secret compartment for a lot of times, but I just want to make sure that we are all on the same page here. Okay, again, blood splotch dripping from the victim. So these two spots here actually corroborates what Mr. McGilded told us just now. He told us that the victim was actually found on the floor and then he set him up. So let's say, okay, for argument's sake, if the victim was stabbed here, there will be some blood dripping, of course, and afterwards the body fell, which is why the body is found here. And afterwards Mr. McGilded put the victim back on the seat. Okay, so there are only two blood splotch that we can see. But have we heard about this one? That's blood, isn't it? Is something wrong? It's just, well, this blood stain is so obvious, and yet Van Zix has made no mention of it. Huh. Okay, that's quite interesting. The prosecution team has not mentioned anything about the blood splotch on the floor. I suppose that does seem a little strange. Why do I have such a bad feeling about this? So the victim sat here, Mr. McGilded sat here, and I think the scream from that little girl came from this secret compartment right here. But that's the thing, it's impossible for someone to be sitting on top of this and at the same time someone getting in. So meaning, in other words, the person getting inside this secret compartment must have done it before Mr. McGilded sat on this seat. Wait, who's that? Zamri. Hi, Sir Shamil. Zamri? Wait. Is this Aish? Aish, is that you? Hey, hello. Welcome to the stream. Kita tengah main game penyiasatan sekarang ni. Dia menyelesaikan kes pembunuhan kat dalam mahkamah. Tak perasan nak, sorry lah. Betul ke Aish ni? Tak pasti lah sebab Muhammad Aish Aryan bin Muhammad Zamri. Tapi ni Zamri saja nama dia, tak pasti lah. Siapa lagi binti Zamri Aish Armel. Kalau betul ni Aish, hai Aish, selamat bercuti. Kau pergi mana cuti? Gila, SKBR pun tengok. Rasanya you lah Aish ni. Tukar type sikit. Ni Aish Aryan ke? Okay, so kat sini lah budak perempuan tu menyorok. Cuma itulah masalah dia. Masalah dia sekarang adalah kalau betul budak perempuan tu menyorok dalam ni, takkan dia menyorok sejak sebelum Mr. McGilded masuk kan? Berapa lama dia duduk dalam ni, and dia menjerit jeritan yang kita dengar tu pun daripada dalam ni. Which brings another point, which is kalau betul dia menyorok dalam ni, macam mana dia boleh nampak apa yang ada berlaku kat luar? Because as you can see here, there are no holes or any way that she could have seen what's happening outside if she were to stay inside here. Okay, so sekarang ni ada inconsistency Dia punya inconsistency adalah, benda yang tak konsisten adalah, semasa pembunuhan tu berlaku, budak perempuan tu ada kat mana sebenarnya? Kalau budak perempuan tu kat luar, kenapa Mr. McGilded tak nampak kan? And kalau budak perempuan tu dah duduk kat dalam, macam mana dia tahu berlaku sesuatu sampaikan dia menjerit? Faham tak? Okay, so tu persoalan yang kita kena solve lah dalam cross exam yang sekarang ni. Sama ada Mr. McGilded ni terlupa, atau dia terbagi statement yang salah, atau dia sebenarnya ada cubaan menipu untuk melindungi budak perempuan ni. So kita tak tahu It came from under my backside. Okay, so betul lah dia confirmkan kita punya teori bahawasanya jeritan itu berlaku di bahagian bawah seat dia. Good gracious, under your backside. And when I lifted the seat on which I'd been sitting, I found there was a wee cubbyhole there for storage. Oh, dia pun tak tahu kewujudan secret compartment tu. Mr. Naruhodo, we can examine the omnibus ourselves, remember? Yeah, I already have. The whole bus was submitted as evidence. This would be a very good time to have a thorough look around side. Already done. It's not our first rodeo, you know. We have done that in part 1 of the case. And that's when I found her. There was a child in there, all curled up in a ball, hiding her wee self away. Terdapat seorang kanak-kanak di situ. Curl up ni macam dia buat position macam udang lah maksudnya dia memeluk tubuh lah. Hiding her wee self away. So budak perempuan tu memang nak menyorokkan dirinya supaya tidak diketahui. Okay, faham. Did we forget to press? We forgot to press on the last statement. Damn it. Let's just say it's trying. We certainly had precious little time to talk to Mr. McGildet before the trial. But we mustn't be dispirited. We must just try to learn all the facts we can. When we arrived in London this morning, I didn't see my day panning out like this. Yeah, me too. No grumbling, even in your head. Alright. Let's get back on track. Okay, so we have pressed on almost all the statements except for the last one. So let's go to the last one. Okay, this statement. There was a child in there, all curled up in a ball, hiding her wee self away. Let's press. Hold it! You say she was hiding herself? Aye, that's right. It was hard to see in the dim lamplight, but she was all curled up in a wee ball. When our eyes met, well, my heart nearly stopped beating in my chest. Okay. You're really overacting this. Still and all, I pulled her out from under there. Okay, so this statement dismissed our theory earlier about the third sound. The third sound was not actually the cover of the seat closing, but it's actually from the victim. Still and all, I pulled her out from under there and set her on the seat opposite so I could have a wee chin wag. What is that? Oh, these Londoners, they do not know how to speak proper English. And set her on the seat opposite. Huh? Dude, opposite of you is actually the victim. How can she sit on the oh, you mean next to the victim? Oh, I think Wee Chin Wag here is a little chat. Perhaps it's a little chat. Right? I was wondering the same thing. How can it be opposite when opposite of you is already, you know, the victim that stabbed on his abdomen, just next to the gentleman. Okay, this clears it up. It's next to the gentleman, meaning beside the dead man. You said this young girl next to a corpse, sir? Well, as I'm sure I mentioned, a gentleman in my position can all too often find himself in mortal danger. A gentleman in my position can all too often find himself in mortal danger. Okay. So I needed to find out just who this urchin was, you see. And while I was in the middle of talking with her, I heard another scream. Okay, there are two screams. There were two screams on the night of the murder. One from this girl, and another one is coming from a man, a fella's voice this time. Two screams, one girl, one man. Okay. Presumably that scream was Mr. First, who was sitting on the roof deck seats. Saksi yang ketiga tu kan, I think it's the third witness, Mr. First. Nama dia pun sedap, Lady First. An apprentice millionaire who witnessed the incident from his seat on the roof deck. Oh, okay. Was sitting on the roof deck seats. Right you are again, I would say, sir. Looking down through the skylight, he must have seen this young girl and the gentleman with the knife in his belly. He must have seen this young girl and the gentleman with the knife in his belly. Okay. In other words, the previous witnesses did not in fact see you at all, Mr. McGilded. What they believed to be yourself and the victim was in fact this girl and the late Mr. Mason. Oh, yelah kot. If I remember correctly, before this, there exists an image where a gentleman was sitting next to the dead man, Mr. Mason, and the gentleman has some sort of a moustache in that image, but that image wasn't presented and wasn't inside this courtroom evidence. We only have this photograph. But if I remember correctly, there was an image of an adult man with moustache sitting next to the victim, which is puzzling because this girl has no moustache. What they believe to be yourself and the victim was in fact this girl and the late Mr. Mason. Okay. I am a lord. I was, as I think everyone understands now, sat at the back of the carriage, out of sight. It is certainly plausible. The defendant is somewhat diminutive in stature. Boleh nak cakap defendant kita ni pendek lah. And readily confused perhaps with this young girl. After that, of course, with the scream from the gentleman over us, the driver realized something was wrong and pulled up the horses. So what actually stops the carriage from moving is actually the second scream coming from Mr. Lady First, which makes the driver of the carriage pulled up his horse and stop the vehicle. Thank you, I've heard enough. The events explained are clear in my mind. However, at least one conundrum remains. Who is the girl? Why was she inside the carriage? Her name is Gina Lestrade, my lord. Do we have her inside the court record? Ada tak dalam rekod mahkamah? Ada. Gina Lestrade, 17 years old. A young woman who witnessed the incident from her hiding place. Witness, I think you mean killed. Aboard the omnibus on the night of the murder. She was discovered by the defendant. Yes. Umur 17 baru budak. Oh, taklah budak sangat, dah remaja nak masuk awal dewasa lah. She's a chancer. earns her crush among large crowds, relieving people of their purses. Wait. Is she a thief? You're saying she's a thief and you're protecting her? While at the same time endangering yourself and incriminating yourself for not revealing who she was and where she were? She's a chancer, earns her crush among large crowds, relieving people of their purses. I'm not sure about this statement because this is a Londoner's talk, and what I understand is he meant that this girl is actually a thief who pickpockets people's wallets and purses. See? What's commonly called a pickpocket? What? A pet thief, maknanya kalau dia didapati bersalah, dia akan didakwa atas dua tuduhan lah. Mencuri dan juga membunuh. Order. Is this true, Miss Lestrade? Miss Lestrade, you will answer the question. Oh, that's. Oh, damn! Did you just shot the judge? How dare you? What is the meaning of this? She's gone. Open your eyes. I'm over here. Oh, that's a menacing look. Good gracious, how? What was the point in that little sidestep? I know what you lot are thinking. Grown-ups are all the same. This dirty little dipper, you'll say, slipped up and got caught on the job. She got herself backed into a corner, so she knifed the gentleman. Go on, that's what's in your heads, ain't it? Hold on, we need to read that in a British accent. But I'm not good with British accents. I'll try though. Go on, that's what's in your heads, ain't it? No, not at all. This is a court of law. We're here to determine. Stop shooting people, damn it. Look, knives are for cowards. Only thugs use weapons like that. All I need for what I do is these fingers. Oh, she's quite handy with her fingers. That's why she, joined the pickpocketing bandwagon. Are you saying that you're not using any knives? Hold on, what's her full name again? Gina Lestrade, G and L, no W, no M. Okay, so the knife was indeed Mr. McGilded's, our client. I'm a professional, right? Maybe not in your eyes, but I got pride in what I do. Let me guess, you don't count smoke guns among weapons for thugs? Oh, this? Yeah, this was in a bag I lifted the other day, down where they keep the four-wheel drags. Oh, meaning inside the secret compartment, okay. It's nice, innit? I like the pink best. Do not wave that thing in my direction again. So, you admit that you were riding the omnibus on the night in question? It is alright, Les. You can tell them the truth now. Alright, yeah. It's just like the Irishman said. The court accepts this girl, Miss Gina Lestrade, as a valid and significant witness in this case. Accordingly, young lady, we will now hear your testimony, if you please. Yeah, don't try to hide anything or, lie in the court. You'll be tried for perjury, theft, and also murder. You will tell the court exactly what happened in the omnibus on the night in question. Alright. Alright, if I have to. Witness testimony. What the girl saw. So I snuck inside the carriage before they looked up the horses. What's that? Just like always. Okay, so with this statement, what we have to revise what we know so far. Before this, we thought that Mr. McGilded was the first passenger on the omnibus, but with this statement, it is actually this little girl that was on the omnibus first before everyone else. But it was a right old waste of time. I got nothing to show for the troubles that night. Is she suggesting that she's trying to rob the carriage but found nothing of significant value? Maybe. I think that's what happened. I'll tell you, you can't see a blind thing in that hiding place. It's pitch in there. She's talking about the secret compartment. Then after a while, I hear this loud bang. Nearly jumped out my skin, I did. And the scream just came out. Oh, okay. This solves one of the mysteries that we had before. The mystery that we had was, if there was indeed a little girl inside that secret compartment and it was closed, how could she respond or see anything happening outside and then screamed? But it's actually from the sound, not from the sight. She heard a loud bang and... Wait, hold on. A loud bang. She didn't say thud, she said bang. Could it be like there was a gunshot inside there? Okay, for now, since we do not have enough evidence or statement, we would just, I think for the sake of argument, just assume that this loud bang is actually the sound of the thud from the body that fell onto the floor. And she screamed, okay? It's because of that this swell found me. He did help me get away. So our client, Mr. McGilded, helped this little girl, Gina Lestrade, escaped from the carriage. That's why no one saw her. Yes, he let you go. I fail to understand why you would let this street urchin go, Mr. McGilded. Oh, it is simplicity itself, my lord. You see, she couldn't possibly have killed the other passenger. I knew that for a fact. How? As I'm sure I said before, sir, I was sitting right on top of the place where she was hiding herself. I think a demonstration is called for. This is where I sat that night. This one, And the cubbyhole of which you have spoken is underneath this seat, I presume. Okay. Yes, it does appear just large enough to accommodate someone of the girl's stature. Ya, budak perempuan tu pun kurus kan. Badan dia kecil, slim, boleh lah muat dalam ni. Tapi dia terpaksa peluk tubuh. But of course the wee lass was stuck in there. Because I'd parked myself on the seat for the duration. Understandable, alright. So you see, that's why I let the lass bolt. I knew that if the police found her there, they would automatically assume she'd done it. But I couldn't live with myself if a young life was ruined when all the time I knew she was innocent. Even though you must have realized your action would result in your own innocence being called into question. Not at all, my lord, not at all. So he wants to prove that he's a true gentleman, true and true. That if he knew someone was innocent, he would just let them go, even though it would incriminate himself. I knew in my own heart that I was innocent, so I thought it was worth taking a punt on my own good name for the sake of this less fortunate lass. My goodness, what a perfect gentleman. My lord, this fine example of a man cannot possibly be guilty of a heinous crime like this. I'm ashamed of myself for ever doubting you, sir. Not guilty. With calm, calculated reasoning, one arrives clearly at the truth every time. Not guilty. Saints alive. All 6 members of the jury consensual in their leaning to a verdict of not guilty. That's too easy. I don't think that's the end of this trial. There's gotta be something. It must mean what? We are victorious. Not yet. Hold on. Wait a minute. We've won? Are you sure? No. That's impossible. There's no way it's this easy.
Objection!
I knew it. If the sight of my iron-heeled Wellington offends, pray do forgive the discourtesy. Dude, you are disrespecting the court right now. But since everyone thought you're cool, why not, right? This really is a consummate example of the one monumental flaw in British judicial practices. Dude, that's a tongue twister. My tongue have been twisted just, saying his lines. Of the one monumental flaw in British judicial practices, right? Where evidence and reasoning should be paramount, emotions rules the day. Emotion? The witness' latest statement gives us a clear insight into his true nature. What do you mean his true nature? Do you really think Scotland Yard would have made such a glaring omission? After the incident, the omnibus was comprehensively searched by officers of the police. You know what? That's kind of weird. If I remember correctly, the omnibus in question here, we have taken a thorough look inside out, outside in, from every possible angle. And if I remember correctly, in part 1 and part 2, when we enter the omnibus, the blood splotch on the floor, I don't think it exists before this. It only existed after at the end of part 2, right? At the end of part 2, we have examined everything and we only saw this splotch of blood inside this carriage. This is might actually be planted, if I'm not mistaken. And with that, do excuse me for I need to go to the loo for a while. 2 minutes break, guys. Alright guys, we're back in action. This is, I think, forgive me if I'm wrong, forgive me if I actually missed that splotch of blood on the floor, but if I remember correctly, before this we have entered this omnibus to investigate millions and millions of times already, and I don't know how we actually missed that. It's quite a large splotch of blood on the floor. We only saw this. This was the only existing blood. None of this whatsoever. But if it was actually there and we missed it, I'm so sorry. Might not affect the trial that much, but we expect during this time, when the police search the omnibus, something might be planted there. Just a suspicion, guys. Just a suspicion. Obviously, the interior of this cubbyhole, as the witness put it, was included in their investigation. You mean the objects and all the items inside there, okay? The compartment under the posterior seat was full of the coachman's belongings. Okay, what does that tell us? That tells us that all the objects and items inside the secret compartment belongs to Beppo, the driver of this case. evidence of the carriage. Beppo, I think it's this one. The driver of the omnibus on which the murder took place is an eyewitness incident. So he said all the things inside the secret compartment belongs to this guy. Let's just keep that in mind. Compartment under the posterior seat was full of the coachman's belongings. Right. It's noted in black and white here in the police report. Okay. Good lord. The evidence has been tampered with. See? Our suspicion is proven to be true. Someone has planted something inside the carriage. In order to corroborate Mr. McGilder's story, someone has unlawfully removed everything from under the seat. Everything. Oh damn, that's unfortunate, because some of the items might actually be, clues in order to solve this case. But everything's missing. Perhaps it's the handiwork of the little girl, because she's quite swift with her fingers and hands. We don't have any of the items here. Okay, that's fair. What? Order. How could such a devious contrivance possibly have been effected, Counsel? Naturally, we must acknowledge the deficiencies of the constabulary in allowing this to have happened. Told you, all his lines, every single one, is tongue twister. However, I assure you, when the omnibus was wheeled into the courtroom this morning, the compartment under the seat was not empty. So this was recent, guys. This was recent in the sense that it did not happen before part 1. It actually happened after part 2 has finished, during the incident, the smoke incident. So most probably it's the girl's doing. The girl did this to probably hide something or plant something inside the carriage. Well, my Nipponese friend, me. When the carriage was submitted as evidence, doubtless you examined it in fine detail, as would any self-respecting practitioner of law. Yes, we have. Lord Van Zix, we have actually searched every nook and cranny, every single spot inside and outside of the carriage. We have investigated everything. Pray, what did you find the condition of the under-seat compartment to be? Is this a memory test, Lord Van Zix? Oh, to be sure, the young gentleman will be able to clear this up in a jiffy. Sorry? Go ahead, you tell the court now, fella. How this is all an elaborate excuse by the desperate Lord Van Zix. Okay, I think this is a test. This is a test to see how far we would go to tell the truth or to conceal a lie inside the courtroom. To win this case, we can simply say, hell no, we didn't see anything underneath the seat. But as I have remembered correctly from the investigation in part 1 and part 2, there were actually some items and belongings inside the secret compartment, meaning if we lie, it will be much easier for us to win this case, but it would be a damp boulder, a huge boulder, that would be an obstacle between us and the real truth. And I think the best way to handle this is not to go for the win at this point, but to actually go for the truth. Alright, so let's just admit to the court that there were actually belongings inside the secret compartment. Do you have something to say? Truth versus win. What can I say about the state of that little compartment under the seat in the omnibus? Oh god. Maybe this is a good point to save, just in case, you know. Alright, yeah. So, statement number 1, I didn't look. Definitely false, definitely wrong, because we did take a look. We have looked for quite large number and amount of time. It was empty, it wasn't empty. The strategy here, I think, is to go for the truth, which is when we saw the first time the secret compartment was opened, there were actually items and belongings inside there, so it wasn't empty. Exactly. I really don't know if giving this answer is helping my cause as counsel for the defense. But as far as I remember, at least, when I first examined the compartment, I'm fairly certain there were a number of articles inside it. Oh, they call it articles. Are you sure, counsel? Be whisked. What are you saying now, you daft dog? I thought you were on my side here. Oh, he's getting angry. That's new. You know what? Looking at this face, it might suggest that he might have actually done it. Why would he be angry? Just because of we have offered our testimony that there were a lot of belongings and items inside the compartment, right? What game are you playing? Your task is to defend the man in the stand. Yeah, but inside this courtroom, we must always try to catch the truth. We must always believe that the route that we take will eventually arrive at the actual truth. Why would you say something to compromise his position? As the advocate for the defense in this trial, I confess I'm still not entirely sure where I stand. But it seems to me that I should state what facts I do know as clearly and honestly as possible. Interesting. It is not altogether pleasing, fella. I'm simply telling the truth, Mr. McGilded. Well, don't forget that you're supposed to be representing my best interest here, lad. To tell the truth, I'm actually conflicted whether to help Mr. McGilded here or not, but after seeing that look, that body language there, that's not the body language of someone who is innocent. You've done something. Now then, a fella's memory is a curious thing and not altogether reliable. I agree. No, the court must consider the facts. That their cubbyhole under the seat is as empty as the devil's heart, so it is. Do you think perhaps it would be in your best interest now to admit that you might be mistaken? Oh no, they are gonna ask for evidence after this. Hold on. Among defenders for adapter, repair, large knife, large victim, quality defense orientation, omnibus, glove. Yang gives the cause of death in human aging, start with the government. How about the people? Okay, I have to admit, for now, we do not have the evidence that is going to back up our findings that actually inside this omnibus, underneath the secret compartment, there actually was some items and belongings which belongs to the driver, Mr. Beppo. Is it at all possible to suggest that inside this secret compartment there's another secret compartment? It's quite far-fetched, right? Gosh darn it, we got nothing. Do you think perhaps it would be in your best interest now to admit that you might have been mistaken? Why? Why do I feel like something's not right here? I should like the jury to weigh in on this matter, I think. That compartment is designed to house equipment used to maintain the smooth running of the carriage. Right? There should be stuff and things inside there. A toolbox or personal belongings of Mr. Beppo. The guild's rules state that omnibuses should be properly and fully equipped at all times. So it certainly wouldn't have been empty on the night in question. Beppo isn't that irresponsible. That money-lending fleecer and the pickpurse are lying. Wait. They're going to find him guilty. Can't believe I was nearly taken in. The stinking rich are always stinkers. Nothing but cowards, a lot of them. Oh yeah, we forgot to mention that our client, Mr. Magnus McGilded, is the philanthropist, a very rich man, and also has contributed a lot to the city of London. What? It's a trick. Of course it's a trick. Quite so, I must concur here. With calm, calculated reasoning, one arrives clearly at the truth every time. Oh, that's her tagline. You know, if our jurisdiction system actually apply this, it might be kind of cool to see, you know, a line of jury on their place or bench or whatever, smacking down tables and fireflies on every direction. That could be cool. Yes, but every time a different truth, it seems. My lord, I humbly exhibit the scales of justice. clearly, a verdict of not guilty at this time would be wholly inappropriate. You know what we haven't done actually is we haven't properly determined the innocence of that little girl. We should have called her to the stand, right? And you know, she should be properly cross-examined by both tables, the prosecution and the defense. But before we proceed any further, there is the matter of the outstanding cross-examination. Yeah, my point exactly. Counsel for the defense, begin your questioning of the witness, please. We will, Your Honor. Yes, my lord. The whole balance of the trial just shifted almost beyond recognition. The Reaper of the Bailey is at work, it would seem. One of the most important cross-examination, what the girl saw. So I snuck inside the carriage before they hooked up. Oh, hook. There's actually a missing H here. They are Londoners, ain't it? Before they hooked up the horses, just like always. Let's press. Hold it! So, you were already in the omnibus before it even set off on its run. Okay, there's an important thing happening here. She said, well, yeah, I mean, what's the point of spending a joey to make a few bob? That's the wrong idea. Okay, so she said, what's the point of paying the travelling fare if she could snuck in early and avoid paying at all, right? So as you can see, there are two buttons here. We can actually examine what's the other defendant is doing. Normal eyebrows, normal facial expression, no weird body language. Okay, let's continue. I suppose she means there's no point spending money to make money. It actually makes sense, okay? Counsel, may I remind you that this girl is a petty thief. Kindly refrain from entertaining her tenants. Well, that does clear up the little mystery of the fares and all. It seems like she's smiling, playing with a coin. Nothing that aroused suspicion here so far. 4 paying passengers at 5 pence a piece, making the 20 to which the cabman testified. 5 pence a piece, that's above the suggestion. Okay. And 1 little scapegrace riding for free. The red conch of a driver always goes for some grub before his last run. Okay, so that's when I slip into the carriage and get myself hidden under the seat. Nice and easy, right? Okay. But your hiding place is a storage compartment full of equipment for the coach, no? Huh. The facial expression changed. Yeah, there's brushes and buckets and whatnot in there, sure. I always chuck all that out and cram it in a corner somewhere. No one ever seems to bother much. And yet, according to the report filed by the police officer who first arrived at the scene, the compartment was full of such paraphernalia. Well, I don't know nothing about that. Like I said, I moved all that stuff out so I could hide under the seat. That's all I can tell you. Okay. It seems we've reached the end of that line of inquiry. Continue. But it was right, all waste of time. I got nothing to show for me troubles at night. Which means, as a thief, she couldn't get any penny inside her pockets that night. Because there's nothing of value that she could take. But it was right, it was nothing to show. Let's press. Hold it! A waste of time? Why is that? Well, most nights I'm on me own in the God permit, at least some of the time. Most nights, okay. Is it possible that they both are in cahoots? Or should we say work together? Right? I mean, if that's the case, then we couldn't win this case. They are actually guilty. I beg your pardon? Did you say God permit? Oh yeah, well, that's what my kind call it. You'd say the omnibus, I suppose. Checking. Nothing strange. The point is, any normal run, the carriage ain't got no one in it for a while. Really, is that bad? She's saying that normally carriages like this at night time wouldn't get any passengers at all. Perhaps. And that's when you come out of your hiding place and get away. That's it. Only that night. Okay, nothing suspicious. This cove was set on Miss seats from the start. Meaning Mr. McGilded sat on the cover from the beginning. And he didn't budge the whole way, did he? Not one inch. I was totally stuck. Okay, let's think. Is it true that Mr. McGilded has never stood up from his seat? Because I think that night, on the night of murder, at least once he stood up, right? Because in his testimony, he said the victim fell onto the floor. He was the one who put the victim back to his seat, meaning in order to do that, he had to actually stand up. He had to stand. So when he stood, that's when an opportunity for the girl present itself in order for her to either do something or escape or anything, right? But in her testimony right now, she's saying that Mr. McGilded didn't budge, didn't move at all. So that's actually not true. He did move at least once. But if you can see here, the facial expression doesn't change at all. No sus. Nothing suspicious happening. Do you mean to tell us that you were present in the carriage for the duration? You were under the seat the entire time while events unfolded in the enclosed cabin? Yeah. Right, mister. Same. To be sure, I was as shocked as anyone. You don't expect to leave the cushion you've been sat on and find a child now, do you? So this Miss Lestrade couldn't possibly be the culprit then. I'll tell you, you can't see a blind thing in that hiding place. It's a pitch in there. Wait, we forgot to press. We forgot to press on that statement. Okay, she said you can't see anything in that secret compartment. It's pitch black. It's dark. No one can see anything if they were to be inside. So let's press. So you couldn't see out into the cabin at all. Not a jot. Most days I push the cushion up with my head and look out the crack. Oh, so she has done this before. On other days, she would tip the cover and peek through the slit. But that fateful night, she couldn't do it because Mr. McGilded here sat on the cushion. Okay. Then I can have a butcher's at who I'm gonna fiddle. So by peeking through the seat, that's how she, I guess, find her target to steal, if there's anything at all. Okay. I thought you were a pickpocket, not a butcher. I mean, I can have a look. The seat I get under ain't as plush as the other one. The seat I get under ain't as plush as the other one. So there are differences. So most of the time, the passengers plant themselves opposite. But for some reason that night, this here Irishman spent the whole journey right over my head. Okay. And for that reason, you weren't able to push the cushion up to peek out. I see. Truth is, I ain't too happy in small dark places. Feels too much like being thrown in the clink. Do you perchance have agoraphobia? Nothing suspicious at all. What's going on with these two? At least at this point, we might be able to catch something suspicious happening, rather eye twitching or maybe super weird body language. But this guy is set as a stone. Okay, but it's the only place to hide in them carriages, so it's Opson's choice. Huh? What's Opson? Or rather, who's Opson? It's the only place to hide in them carriages, so it's Opson's choice. Why doesn't she just stick to picking people's pockets in the open then? I'd say there's some reason that she's not letting on, judging from her demeanor. So anyways, I was a bit scared, but I had to just stick it out under there. Nothing else for it. Oh god! Guys, we forgot something. Okay. How do I say this? So this is the statement, and by pressing D on the keyboard, we can actually look at the other person, right? So this is Mr. McGilded, and to go back to Gina, we can press A. So look around is D and A, right? But as you can see here, when it's on Gina, we have D, T, E, F, G, but we have an additional option when we are with McGilded. We have A and pursue. We can pursue the statement. Damn it, we missed. So anyways, I was a bit scared, but I had to just stick it out under there. Nothing else for it. Can we pursue in all statements? Or is it possible that only certain statements can be pursued? I don't know. Let's go back to the one before. I tell you, you can't see a blind thing in the hiding place. It's pitch in there. First we press, right? Huh, we can pursue.
Excuse me.
Let me ask you something, Mr. McGilded. What would that be, fella? Do you have something to say about that last statement? No, not really. I'm altogether happy with what's been said. Kind of you to ask me still and all. Here, have yourself a tip. Oh, which means that we need to pursue at the right statement. Then only we can get new insights and new ideas. Oh God. Does it cost us anything? We still have 2 lives left. We still have 2 lives left. Then after a while, I hear this loud bang. Nearly jumped out my skin, I did, and the scream just came out. Then after a while, I hear this loud bang. Nearly jumped out my skin. The scream just came out. Let's press.
Hold it!
When you say a loud bang, do you mean the noise of someone falling to the floor? Good question, good question. Because we kind of have a similar thought with this thinking that you don't describe something fall as a loud bang. You describe like a gunshot with a bang, right? So asking this is very crucial in this case. Do you really mean this thud sound that was produced by a body falling onto the floor by saying loud bang? Huh. She draws a blank, guys. And how about him? Okay, you know what? I think this is where we pursue.
Excuse me.
Excuse me. Let me ask you something, Mr. McGilded. Oh man, it's not this one. So it was at this statement that we pressed, and then she drew a blank. Could have been, I suppose. I don't remember so well. Point is, it made me jump, and you let out a scream involuntarily. That's right. And then I felt the cushion over my head get lighter all of a sudden, because Mr. McGilded was moving, right? He was moving to adjust the position of the dead body. Presumably when the defendant got up in order to help the victim, yes? Or not? It could equally have been the moment the accused stood in order to stab his victim, could it not? Well, did you see what happened at that crucial moment? Yeah, I saw it. I pushed up the cushion and had a quick butcher's while I had the chance. Didn't I? The Irishman was sitting up. The bloke what had fallen on the floor on the seat opposite. Okay, I don't know which one to pursue, honestly, but there might be something here. So this guy is showing us nothing, giving us nothing, but at this statement As if driven by guilt, Gina covers her face with her hand. There's got to be something happening here, right? How about we pursue this statement?
Excuse me.
Nothing. Luckily this doesn't cost us anything. Still have 2 lives. Let's go back to the statement and press and keep going to uncover new stuff. So Van Zik said the moment that the seat became lighter is the moment where little Gina could pick out, and that could also be the opportunity for Mr. McGilded to actually stab the victim. Yeah, I saw it. I pushed up the cushion and had a quick butchers while I had a chance. The Irishman was sitting up. The bloke. That matches Mr. McGill's account, of course. But then the fella suddenly turned around and looks right at me. Interesting. I sunk back down again, but it was too late by then. I should never have risked looking. It's because of that this swell found me. He did help me get away, mind.
Hold it!
And when Mr. McGilder discovered you, he pulled you out from your hiding place. I was scared stiff. I was. He dragged me out and sat me down on the seat and all. Nothing. Next to the victim, Mr. Mason. Yeah, the bloke had a knife in his guts. He was still bleeding. Okay. Then the carriage lurched a bit and he ended up falling onto me. Huh? I should pursue this, right? But I guess if I pursue, then it's the same thing as before. Because this part was not revealed at all before this. The carriage lurched a bit and he ended up falling onto me. Someone who was stabbed in the abdomen, fall onto a little girl next to him. Something should have happened. At least the blood would drip all over the girl's clothes, right? But that didn't happen. So this is quite suspicious, very suspicious. Should we press or pursue? Let's try.
Excuse me.
Nothing. And we need to start over, damn it. All 6 members of the jury had decided the defendant was innocent. For one brief shining moment, yes. It's clear that they are still very unsure. We could just find some conclusive piece of evidence among this new thing. Is that the target here? Okay, maybe this line of questioning we need to extract a new evidence, not present an old one, but rather dig something new out of all these long ass statements. I'm sure we would clinch the verdict we want. Yes, I think you're right, and I have this niggling feeling. Something's bothering me, but I just can't quite put my finger on it. So in total we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 statements, and I think the last one was not finished. Let's go to the last one. So for me, let me get away mine. Press.
Hold it!
Keep on pressing. Both me hands. I think she's saying both her hands got covered in blood. So this is quite interesting. In part 2, two of the witnesses stated that they saw a person having blood all over their hands. So it could be Gina at that time. Both my hands got covered in blood. Made me feel sick as a dog. Both her hands covered in blood. That must be what the rooftop passengers saw. Yeah. After that, I believe you talked with Mr. McGilded for a while. Is that correct? He asked me some stuff. Okay. Wanted to know my name and what I was up to. And that. Then I heard something from up above. Someone screamed. Yes, Mr. First on the roof deck, one would presume. Well, I didn't want no one seeing my face, so I didn't look up. Then the horses were drawn up smartish, and this here Irishman says to me, still nothing. Get back under the seat, I'll see that you can't get away later. This might be the hardest cross exam yet. We found no loopholes, guys. Snuck inside the carriage before they looked up the horses. But it was right a waste of time. I got nothing to show for my troubles that night. I'll tell you, you can't see a blind thing in that hiding place. It's pitch in there. Then after a while I hear this loud bang, nearly jumped out my skin. I did, and the scream just came out. It's because of that this swell found me. He did help me get away. Brings you to a personal energy. You know what? I think we missed something crucial and important in the beginning of the quest. What's the point of spending Joey making a few bob? That's a wrong idea. Council may remind you the good is pretty. Tenants, well, that does clear up the material affairs. 4 paying passengers at 5 pence, making the 20 to which the cabman testified. got nothing to show.
Hold it!
Most nights I'm on my own in the God permit at least. Well, that's what my kind call it. You say the omnibus. When you said normal run, the carriage ain't got no one in it for a while. When you come out of hiding place and get away. That's it, only that night. This cough was set on my seat from the start. And he didn't budge the whole way, did he? Not 1 inch. I was so pissed off. Do you mean to tell us that you were present in the carriage for the duration? You were under the seat the entire time while events unfolded in the enclosed cabin? Yeah, right, mister. I was as shocked as anyone. You don't expect to leave the cushion you've been sat on and find a child now, do you? So this Miss Legend couldn't possibly be the culprit then? You can't see a blind thing in that hiding place. It's pitch in there.
Hold it!
So you couldn't see out into the cabin at all. Not a jot. Mostly I pushed the cushion out with my head and look out the crack. Then I can have a butcher's at who I'm gonna fiddle. I thought you were a pickpocket, not a butcher. I mean, I can have a look. The seat I get under ain't as plush as the other one, see? Okay, something is not right here. Mr. McGilded said that the cushion of the seat that he sat on was the most comfortable. But Gina said the seat that she got under isn't as plush as the other one. So this guy saying that the cushion on his side was the most comfortable, but this girl said that the cushion on the other side, in other words the victim side, was the most comfortable. But I'm not sure whether this is a valid inconsistency or not, but we don't see any. Can we present anything? We can't present anything here. Should we pursue this?
Excuse me!
Nothing new also. That's weird.
Hold it!
So most of the time the passengers plant themselves opposite. But for some reason that night, this Irishman spelled on journey right over my head.
Excuse me.
Also nothing. I hear this loud bang, nearly jumped out my skin, and the scream just came out. Hear this loud bang, nearly jumped out of my skin, and the scream just came out.
Hold it!
And I saw someone falling to the floor. Could have been. Point is, it made me jump. He let out a scream involuntarily. That's right. And then I felt the cushion over my head get lighter all of a sudden. Presumably when the defendant got up in order to help the victim, yes? Or not? It could equally have been the moment the accused stood in order to stab his victim, could it not? Do you see what happened at that crucial moment? Yeah, I saw it. I pushed up the cushion and had a quick butcher's while I had the chance. The Irishman was sitting up. The bloke what had fallen on the floor on the seat opposite. But then the fella suddenly turns around and looks right at me.
Excuse me.
We've been working for this cross exam for quite a while now. I might need to look at my notes again. The fella suddenly turns around and looks right at me. I sunk back down again, but it was too late by then. I should have never risked looking. Same expression, right? It's because of that this swell found me. He did help me get away. And when Mr. McLeod discovered you, he pulled you out from your hiding place. I was scared stiff I was. He dragged me out and sat me down on the seat and all. Next to the victim, Mr. Mason. Yeah, the bloke had a knife in his guts. He was still bleeding. Pursue. Then the carriage lurched a bit and he ended up falling onto me. Both my hands got covered in blood. It made me feel sick as a dog. Pursue.
Excuse me.
Also nothing. There's no loophole. It's airtight. Find some conclusive piece of evidence among these new testimony.
Hold it!
Alright, if we still don't find it, we might be concluding this line of questioning in a few minutes, because we need to revise all the notes that we have in order for us to determine which part of this testimony is the most problematic, and therefore could an evidence be presented at that statement. See, there's a dog. Both her hands. That must be what the rooftop passenger saw. After that, I believe you talked with Mr. McGiddy for a while. Is that correct? He asked me some stuff. Okay. Wanted to know my name and what not, and what I was up to. And that. Then I heard something from up above. Someone screamed. Heard something from up above. Someone screamed. I think the sky window is not open. It was shut during the night of the murder. Could it be possible that she heard the person screaming from upstairs? I'm not sure. Mr. First on roof deck, I would presume. Well, I didn't know no one see my face, so I didn't look up. Then the horses were drawn up smartish, and this here Irishman says to me, "Get back under the seat. I'll see that you can get away later." Alright, since we couldn't find any new evidence or new insight, new ideas, new testimony from all this cross-exam, I think we need to take a break at this point and re-examine our notes. Perhaps we can find something important that we might be able to press or present an evidence or something. Thank you for joining us tonight. I think we are gonna end the cross-exam here. We might be continuing this tomorrow night, hopefully. So let's just save our progress. This is where I wave my white flag for now, because we wasn't able to, point out any inconsistency using all our evidence to her statements. For now, we might be able to do that tomorrow. Okay. So thank you guys for joining, and I hope I'll see you guys next time. Peace and cheers.